First World War Mascots, Animals at War by Philippa Weddy. War is no place for an animal. Or is it? You might be surprised to know that many animals took part in the First World War. Horses were used by the cavalry. They also pulled guns and supply wagons. Dogs were trained to look for wounded soldiers in no man's land. Cats caught rats in the trenches. Homing pigeons delivered messages, and donkeys carried water and supplies. Other animals went to war too, but not to work. They went as mascots. What is a mascot? A mascot is used to represent a group of people or a team. Often it's an animal or some kind of soft toy, such as a teddy bear. Some people even think that mascots bring good luck and help to achieve success. Why did soldiers have mascots? Many New Zealand troops had mascots. Dogs were always popular, but there were also birds, cats, donkeys, goats, and monkeys. The soldiers kept mascots for many reasons. A mascot was a symbol for the regiment. It was also a friend and companion, like a pet. It added humor and fun to everyday life. A mascot was good for morale because it cheered up the soldiers. Thousands of New Zealanders took part in the war. They were a long way from home and living in terrible conditions. A mascot gave them something positive to think about. It was a reminder of home and normal life. Many New Zealanders were killed and injured in the war. Some people probably hoped that their mascot would bring them good luck and keep them safe. Here's a picture of Paddy, the Wellington Regiment mascot, on parade in France in 1918. She's a cute little pupper. Where did the mascots come from? Some soldiers had mascots while they were in New Zealand, and some had mascots when they were overseas. In New Zealand, many soldiers spent several months in training camps before going overseas to join the fighting. The camp at Featherston was home to a number of animals. They included a goat that followed the men around and a terrier that liked to listen to the brass band. In December 1915, a group of soldiers marched over the Rimutaka Hill from the Featherston camp. They were on their way to the ships that would take them to Europe. The newspaper said that the men were as merry as boys out for a picnic. They sang all the way up the long, steep hill. The soldiers were led by their mascot, a playful puppy that had been practicing drills with them. Overseas. When soldiers were overseas, they often found or bought animals that they kept as mascots. Some New Zealand and Australian soldiers bought a small donkey as a mascot while they were on leave in Cairo, Egypt. Then they had to get it back to their camp outside the city. They tried to get it on a tram, but the conductor did not want to take the donkey. The soldiers didn't want to leave her, so they paid the donkey's fare as well as their own. The Auckland Mounted Rifles had a Great Dane called Rona as a mascot. Some of the men met her at a train station in London. Rona was waiting with her owner on the platform. She went over and made friends with the soldiers. The men liked her so much, and Rona seemed happy to be with them, that the owner handed Rona over to them on the spot. Okay, above is Moses, the Egyptian donkey that was the mascot of the New Zealand Army Corps, and then left a soldier in Auckland, Mounted Rifles, holding a pet desert fox. Very cute, almost looks like a fennec fox. And below, Jimmy, the mascot of the Otago Mountain Rifles, has a drink. Oh, it's a monkey. He's having a drink. Okay. Perilous Jack, able sea dog. It wasn't only soldiers in the army who had mascots. Sailors in the navy had them too. Perilous Jack was a bulldog that lived on the ship HMS New Zealand. The dog was named after a famous dolphin that used to swim beside the boat in the Marlborough Sound. In fact, there were 2 dogs called Perilous Jack. The first one joined the ship as a puppy in 1913 before the war. He used to line up with the sailors every morning for the captain's inspection. During the war, he would stand on deck, and when there was fighting, During the war, he would stand on deck when there was fighting and bark at the exploding shells. Oh, here's a picture of the HMS New Zealand where Perilous Jack lived. It's a pretty big steamship. When the first Perilous Jack died in an accident, he fell down a funnel, a second bulldog with the same name took his place. The second dog joined HMS New Zealand in 1916. He was on the ship during the Battle of Jutland, which was the largest naval battle of the war. Many ships were sunk, and nearly 10,000 men died, but Perilous Jack survived. After the war, the captain of the HMS New Zealand gave Perilous Jack to the city of Auckland. So you can still see 2 of his silver collars, one at Auckland Museum and one at the Navy Museum in Devonport. What happened to the mascots? Not all mascots survived the war. Some died during the fighting. A dog called Frida, the mascot of the New Zealand Rifle Brigade, has her own gravestone at Cannock Chase in England. Many mascots were left behind when the soldiers had to move on. Several animals were given to the Cairo Zoo when the troops left the city. Some of the mascots were not allowed to return to New Zealand after the war because of quarantine rules. However, some were probably brought back secretly. There are stories of soldiers hiding mascots under their clothing or in their luggage. Soldiers and animals had been through a lot together, and the soldiers couldn't bear to leave their animal friends behind. This is a picture of Frida's grave, mascot to the New Zealand Rifles, 1918. Sad. All right, and here is Corporal, the mascot of the Fighting 5th Reinforcements. And here are some glossary, some words you might not know: cavalry, drill, morale, no man's land, quarantine, regiment, tram, and troops. Mascots. Sports teams, bands, and armies all liked household pets to be on side. When Masterson's band beat drums and blew their horns so rousingly, they won a medal. Their mascot, Roy, a collie, wore one too. Another dog he can't have known because this one barked in French, was mascot to the Auckland Regimental Band in World War I. A terrier, he sat upon the largest drum. Quite like the dog who stood atop the running board of Wanganui's fire brigade, though he didn't fight the fires, he just enjoyed the ride. Mulu the cow rang bells to help Waikato's rugby team succeed. Unlike the war, the score was drawn, no players hurt, they all swapped shirts, then left the field. Here are some more pictures. This one over here, Masterson District Brass Band with Roy, their mascot, pictured in 1903. And it says they were wearing the medals they won in a competition. So, there we go. Auckland Regimental Band with their mascot in France, 1918. The Wanganui Fire Brigade outside Central Fire Station, 1926. Their mascot sitting on their running board. Very cute. And the Waikato district is well known for the dairy farming, so Mulu is an appropriate mascot for their rugby team. Right, I hope you enjoyed this story.